from Michelle J. Lamont. It was such an honor to have her on the podcast this week. She is a spiritual life coach who helps men and women remove their limiting beliefs. I love this. So that you can manifest everything you desire. She explains what manifesting is. She explains how every business owner is already manifesting something and how to get out of your own way to receive those miracles. She does this through one-on-one coaching, clarity calls, workshops, masterclasses. And in October 2020, her podcast, Manifesting Miracles, debuted as one of the top 100 downloaded shows in the spiritual and self-help category. She reminds us that with the 11 laws of the universe, including the law of attraction, mindfulness, meditation, prayer, and nature, that you are all worthy of living a life based in truth, joy, and abundance. Her story is incredibly inspiring, and she is going to dig into her whole story, tell you where she came from, where she's going, and how she was able to use manifesting to move her towards the life that she wants, and then give you a lot of encouragement. You are going to walk away today feeling encouraged. I do want to let you know that this story may be triggering, so I want to let you know now. There are some gritty details in here, and this is true life, but I want to give you a heads up so that you know, and you are in a safe space to be able to listen to this. It is so powerful to hear an authentic story like this of what is happening in a person's life to be able to decide that there needs to be a shift. And it's such a powerful story too, to hear how the work you are doing right now could impact someone in an incredible way. You never know who's going to be listening when you are sharing your truth. And that's what I took away from Michelle's story today. Here it is. Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for being here today. How are you?
I am blessed and never stressed.
I love to hear that. That's amazing. So good. And that's what we want to learn from you today. It's going to be so good. So good. Before we jump into all of that, though, let's learn from you a little bit about you. So I would love to hear just where you're from and what you love doing outside of work, too, before we dive into the work stuff.
Well, I'm a first generation American. So I was born in Dallas, Texas, but I currently live in St. Pete, Florida. My house is on the water. So my favorite thing is to sit out on my dock and play with the dolphins. There's a lot of dolphins in my backyard every day.
Wow.
I definitely manifested my reality because, when I was 10, my mother died and my dad kept my brothers and gave me away. So I became homeless and familyless in a matter of 90 days at the tender age of 10. Wow. And so coming from being an orphan, although I had a living parent, to starting and creating, this is my third 7-figure company. And it's all about your energetic connection to this world. And you can either hustle it or you can be magical about it.
So how did you get into this area?
Okay. So in 2016, April of 2016, I had a very successful PR agency, but I had just filed for divorce in 2015 and found out like even more. I had a very abusive marriage. And he was the first person I ever met outside the orphanage and was with him for the majority of my life, and finally fought back and filed and had to get restraining orders and all that sort of thing. And then he literally had hid from me that there was 2 liens on my house, took out $18,000 from the business account. And I had to immediately sell my wedding ring, my diamond earrings, and my necklace to make payroll, fire everybody because I couldn't make a second payroll. There was no more jewelry to sell. and called some of my biggest clients. He did, and I lost $70,000 in revenue. And I was literally been abandoned, abused, and then went through all of that with him. Even though I was very successful, because I was in that dichotomy, I was not able to be in control of the money ever. Money was not a motivator for me anymore. So I put a lot of work and a lot of effort into killing myself. And so and that's episode 2 of my podcast. It takes a whole 40 minutes to explain what happened. But basically, after I was alive afterwards, I was laying in my bed. And at the time, I was a TV media publicist working red carpets and TV stations and that sort of thing, NFL, NBA. I was laying in bed and I was like, damn, I should have used a gun. I've never failed at anything in my life. You know, I'm going to do this again, but this time do it right. I'm laying in bed and wrapped in my little air-conditioned cocoon Elvis state. And the TV comes on and the remote's in front of the TV. And I'm like looking at the TV and looking at the remote. I'm looking up at the thing. And I had no connection to anything that you would call God. My upbringing was was brought up in a religious orphanage, and I was assaulted over and over again by people who are standing on the pulpit, saying, all the right words, but actually like demons. I just looked up and I was like, what in the heck is going on? And this man comes on the television and he says, has this little hat on and this white sweater and white linen pants. And he says, when you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. And I was riveted and I don't know what it was, right? And I ended up watching 12 hours of this man. I end up the next day in my pajamas, getting in my car with a slice of pizza in my hand, driving down the road. And I find a half-price books and I walk in and the guy goes, hey, we don't let homeless in here. That's how bad I looked. And I said, I go, okay. He was like, you can't be in here. I said, no, I came here in a BMW. I'm not homeless. I said, I'm just dirty. And I was like, do you have any books by this dude, Dr. Wayne Dyer? And he looks it up. He's like, yeah, there's 39. I said, I'll take them all. And they had 21. So I just sat down and started reading one after another. And I knew what he was saying because he was speaking to me through the television. He was making me buy his books and he wanted to be my mentor. He wanted to help me through this. And the more I kept going on this, path with Dr. Wayne Dyer, then the next spiritual mentor come in, the next spiritual mentor come in. And I went back to school. I did my dissertation and I got in and I got a secondary degree in mindfulness cognitive therapy. And then I would be certified through Yale as a happiness expert. And then I really started to understand the metaphysical properties. And then I really dove deep into quantum physics and quantum healing, and then into angels, into guides, into how to work with candles, how to talk to God, how to invite God in, and truly understanding that I was playing the wrong game the whole time. And once I grasped it, I ended up writing down in March of 2018, 10 things that I wanted to manifest. And the third thing was interview Oprah Winfrey. The fourth thing was get a TEDx talk. I got both of those things in 5 days.
Wow.
And when I'm speaking to Oprah and we're having this 5-minute conversation, this interview, I told her that I was a manifestation expert. And then she grabbed my arm and she was like, that is everything. That's why you and I are talking right now. And And when we finished and she walked away, I opened up my Instagram and I deleted, Bravo, NBC, Fox, NFL. I deleted everything of ego and I put manifestation expert. And that was it.
Did you know you can increase your quality of life just by having a simple daily plan? Running a business is overwhelming at times. That constant rolling thought of how to make things better, who needs what, and what the next step is, it can keep you running on a hamster wheel. I get it. I've been there. Now imagine jumping off that hamster wheel and running forward. You wake up with relief, order, peace. You are able to savor that hot, steaming cup of morning coffee because you're not in a rush. Because you know exactly what you need to check off the list that day to move the needle. This is what a 90-day done-for-you plan can do for you. Personalized weekly strategy to help you be productive, efficient, and effective in your business so that you can enjoy your life too. Because freedom to live your life is what is really important. DM me the word 90 days and I'll send you the next step to your ideal plan. Or you can visit coachamberb.com and click on productivity packages to schedule your session now, because these days fill up really fast with only 4 spots available monthly. And the best time to start your ideal life is now. So DM me the word 90 days at coachamberb or click on productivity packages on my website, coachamberb.com.
When you allow the universe to step in, you can write any Amazon order to God and receive it. And if you don't like the word God, you can say higher power. And if you don't like higher power, you can say universal energy. You can say Gaia. You can say whatever you want. But in order to be the receiver of this magnetism, you're going to have to admit that you're not the one directing the traffic. You're the one listening to the directions and going in that way. But fear and doubt and insecurity and shame and your ego is going to block every single aspect of your blessings to your reality. So Dr. Wayne Dyer said it best. Ego will prevent everything. And what is ego? EGO, edging God out. And then she was, kind of a negative producer. And she was like, well, if you don't get every one of your friends to listen and you don't talk to every single person, that number is going to go down. I said, oh, I did a meditation. It's going to go up. She was like, oh, you did a meditation, huh? I said, mm-hmm. And it's going to be around 3,300. And it was 3333 exact angel number. So by December, I was at 10K. Now I'm at like 260. And, everything just grew from there. Wow. So,
and you're staying in your own lane with your voice. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So powerful. I love that.
So it doesn't matter, your age, your race, your background, your education, your financial situation. Once you can get over fear and insecurity and doubt and shame and lack and I'm not enough and everybody's prettier and smarter and better and whatever it is that you want to, the lie that you've incorporated because of the way that society has allowed you to live so far vibrationally, and the way that society is created, in, especially in this country, it leaves you always feeling like you're never enough.
Yep.
And then if you add any dynamic, being a woman, identifying as a woman, okay, being a minority, all right, being somebody who has had, issues in their life, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody is about to judge you up and down.
Yep.
And decide instantly that you're not worth it, or you're not going to make it, or you're not going to do it. I started that podcast October 25th of 2020 with $0, a $99 microphone, and no guests, no advertising. And I refused to do PR because I wanted to see if it had legs.
Yeah.
And, you know, so far I've probably made like over $200,000 off the podcast. So I know that energy can be complicated for people, but money shouldn't be. And you shouldn't think of it or put it on a pedestal ever. You have to think of it as air and water and oxygen. It is ample. It is an element. It is an energy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will say, oh, you know, I don't have money for that. I didn't either. When I started my podcast, I had 2 liens on a house. I had literally $1,800 in the bank account. And it was pretty much like, okay, let's see how this works. Let's see what happens.
The whole story is a story of getting out of our own way and ultimately you deciding I'm going to stay in this lane where I'm aligned. And you had this shift even where you said it wasn't about money anymore. It was about helping this one person. It was about being your highest self. And when you shift to that, the opportunities are endless too.
Endless.
And it's incredible to hear that. That was an incredible story. I appreciate you sharing all that detail with us so that we can see that complete turnaround and shift in. I love that quote too of what you look at changes. We have that on a fridge for my whole family. We always look at it. And when we're working in business, I know manifesting is a word that's thrown around a lot today. So can you bring some clarity for us what it truly is and how we can learn to use that power in our business?
Well, you're already doing it. Okay. And entrepreneurs are very powerful manifestors. Okay. My favorite kind of person to work with is an entrepreneur because I love to take them and make them double their income or grow their income by just allowing the universe to do it. Because as an entrepreneur, if you're a successful entrepreneur, you learn very quickly to write checks. Even if you don't have the money, you write the checks because you stay in your zone of genius. And if you're an entrepreneur, there's one book you have to read. And if anyone's an entrepreneur who works with me, I won't even start working with you until you've read this book. And it's called The Big Leap. Have you read it?
Yes. I love that. I love that you make everyone read it before working with you.
Because literally it will clear out 2, 3, 4 years of fear. And then I can go in there and look like a killer coach because you've already done the heavy lifting. Now we're going to move to the magic because until we clear the mind, because that amygdala and that reticular activation system is always going to drag you back into what is already known vibrationally, energetically, intellectually, financially. And you cannot tap in to your magic. And Walt Disney has a great quote. The magic only works for those who seek it. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're a major manifester, and you know already to stay in your zone of genius, as Guy Hendricks says. And it was such an impactful book for me. Last year, I sent it to over 45 people just last year. As an entrepreneur, you're a manifester, and manifesting by definition is taking something from your thought and bringing it into your visible reality. That's the actual, like, true definition of manifesting. You're taking something from your thought and bringing it into reality. That is every single entrepreneur. You have the cojones to believe that you can just say, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to sell this and people are going to buy it from me. In that moment, you're the magic.
Yeah.
You're the magic. And until you lean into fear and lean into doubt and lean into insecurity, you're in your zone, right? So as an entrepreneur, any entrepreneur you've ever spoken to, they're going to say the same thing. Well, I was doing really, really good. And then this happened and everything. And then this, da, 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 da. You see, that was the universe trying to level you up. And you took the old way in and the old way out.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't change anything about your actual vibrational universe, your mindset, or your ability to connect the dots.
Yeah.
So now you're circulating and creating out of fear, out of lack, out of doubt, and out of insecurity. You can either be the magic or the mountain. You'll get both. So you might as well go for the magic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think something is going to be super difficult and super hard and very complicated, you're exactly right. But there are so many freaking ways to move energy super fast and to align with, everybody wants to know about money. And it's the thing I don't like talking about. Okay. So I got so sick and tired of people asking about money. I wrote a book. It's not out yet. It's a free ebook, and it's going to be Manifesting Money, 6 Simple Solutions to Financial Abundance. And like in the next 30 days, you can get it on my website for free. It should answer all your questions.
That's
Stop
awesome.
bugging
Then
me.
you don't have to ask you.
Right. Stop bugging. It's like, stop
brilliant.
asking me. I'm going to be like, yeah, I got an ebook. Here you go. Now, do you really want to get started changing your life? Because money is your excuse. As much as the way I look is my excuse, my education is my excuse, my ethnicity is my excuse, my sexual orientation is my excuse, being single, being married, being divorced, having 3 kids. You can choose whatever you want, and that mountain will work for you.
Yeah.
Or you can say, I live in the most magical place on earth, and every single day I can harness a miracle.
This has been so inspiring today. We've learned so much from you. And I know that this will be such an inspiration to so many right in the moment when they needed it most. So thank you so much for being here today. How can people find you and learn more from you?
Listen, I was in PR for a long time, so I keep it simple, stupid. It's Michelle J. Lamont on everything. Michelle J. Lamont on TikTok, social media, my website. You go to iTunes or Spotify, type in Michelle J. Lamont. And now they'll see this podcast as well. And I am so excited for your listeners to grow with you. You're open to things. You're already in your magical space, and you're only growing and growing and growing and growing. And that is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We'll talk with you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of Momentum Restart Podcast. I would love to hear what you think about it. What were your takeaways? What action steps do you now want to take? DM me on Instagram at Coach Amber B, and let's keep this conversation going. I promise I respond to every message I get. Talk with you soon.